Is that the Jackson Ski Touring one? Right there?
Yeah.
What is the rest of that stack?
There's 5 copies of every.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I lost my pencil in the process. All right, so we basically took care of one of the wetlands permits. Management plan's okay. All right, so Jackson Falls, the new walkway path. Spring plans. So we were supposed to pick a date. Is that?
Well, let's see. Tom,
I
I
don't
think.
know when the seedlings
Right, Tom
are
did
coming.
one of the
Yeah.
seedlings.
Anybody want to do some, what do you say, staking down on the edge? I've got lots of dogwood. I could get some stakes, and then you just, in other words, you cut these things up and you go down and you need like a rebar or something, and you pound it in and you just stick the little seed in. It's kind of cool, but now would be the time to start thinking about doing it. And I know some of those really eroded parts, like right on the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the bank.
Yeah, we'd have to do that.
I'm always into planting.
Do it, within the next week or so, I think.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, it's, the water's, as long as the ground gets, soft enough so you could stick something through it, because the plants have to be dormant when you cut them.
Mm-hmm.
And you just cut a little switch and stick it in?
I mean, it's basically, you cut the switch, but you cut it off, you cut the branches off too. So you're just sticking the bottom in.
Right, it's
like
in a
stake.
root.
Yeah, it's a stake, a live stake, and you just stick it in there. But didn't think anybody would be interested in doing it.
I would help. You have,
Yeah.
you have cuttings?
I can get cuttings in. I've got a lot of dogwood in my place, so.
You want to just send out email?
Yeah.
And just say when you're
Yeah.
it's a good time for you to
That would be
cut
great.
them, cut
Yeah.
the stakes.
Yeah. Or I can just come down with the stakes and people can come and just stick them in.
Okay.
Be worth a shot. Okay.
Do you remember when the plants came in last year? I mean, it was in the first week of May, maybe. Was it in May?
Probably have it in
I
minutes.
thought it was
Just
earlier
curious.
than.
I thought it was
I
like.
guess it would have to be earlier.
Yeah, I thought it was more.
Coming right up, so it'll probably be next week.
Probably have.
I would be willing to go down and get them and store them if we need to. So that means the work day would be within a week or so of getting the plants. So that's coming up in the next couple of weeks then.
Do we want to try to schedule it before we know, or just like when we get the seedlings send out?
Yeah.
It seems tough to schedule if we don't really know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, it's seedlings.
I'll
and
see if
then-
I can find when they came last year.
Yeah, I think I can. I might be able to find
I
it.
wonder if you can go online and find out if they know yet.
If they have like an estimated time, that would be helpful.
Yeah, well, April 3rd last year we were setting the schedule for the plants. So we didn't have a date yet. So
Who picked
parking.
them up? Did you pick them up last year?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And the other item is parking, which we kind of just had a conversation about. But maybe we won't be going down that path quite yet. I mean, Burr came into the meeting, which was part of our plan was to get a hold of Burr to come to the meeting to talk about parking. So
I would be willing to hire him to draw a map of the area to submit to get no parking on Carter Notch Road. I don't know how much it would cost. I don't know where that would fit into our budget, but I feel like if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do.
Well, it's the minimum that we have to do. I mean, we can't do anything without it, right?
Yeah.
And they won't allow us to do anything without it.
Right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bad to have a,
I think it's a good idea.
Of course, the interesting thing is that, from what I think I got from Tom's email, is that apparently you're not supposed to be backing out onto the road.
Yeah.
So the
Right.
parallel parking spaces are the only ones that don't back out. But they cause the most trouble, though, when you think about it. Just because the door's opening and
Yeah.
traffic going by and...
Although, wouldn't you consider that still backing out into a single lane road, even from a parallel spot, conceivably? I mean, I guess it depends what direction you exit your parallel parking spot, technically. But
So even the head-in parking, backing out onto the road is not legal?
it's not legal.
you have to back in.
That would be funny if we said, if we had back-in signs. and
Back in
stuff.
only.
That would solve that.
We're taking care of a lot of things, yeah. I can't do that. Oh,
We could build a loop road, like in Acadia.
there you go. The
So
5
then
mile
what
loop
would that
road.
mean? I mean,
Back to the
conceivably,
south.
would that mean that we have to redo the entire parking lot?
We're probably grandfathered to what we've got. It's a matter of, you know.
I think
If
his
you
point
eliminate
was
spaces,
is
I
that
think
what we
that's
have
fine.
is not good either.
Yeah.
Well, that's for sure.
Okay, this one here. So this is May 1st meeting. Where is it? I just saw it.
Thanks for
Motion.
picking up the weeds. I mean,
Motion to approve proposal 1. Seedlings plan work session this week, Wednesday. So it's the first week of May
because we can make it.
that we plant them.
We intentionally tried to get the high season of the black flies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, roughly we can plan
Okay.
the first week of May, so we'll have a meeting by that point. Alright, so are we all set with Jackson Falls stuff? Are we comfortable with that, or do you want to talk
So
about
we
hiring
can look
Burr?
into hiring Burr, see
Yeah.
how much it would cost, and then maybe we
And
can vote
may-
on it in May.
As well as maybe we should look into see what he might have on file already. I mean, he might have a
Yeah.
document.
We could already use.
Yeah, I mean, in which case we'd still probably be hiring him to.
To update it.
Yeah, but I imagine, or he might know of a file that exists that he simply has to just update.
Okay.
How about we agree that Margaret follow up to see if there's,
Sure.
what the process would be to employ him to update or
I'm happy to
create.
do that too if you want. I
Okay.
talked to him a fair amount.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean if you don't, if it's easier.
Yeah, if you've got a relationship with
Yeah,
him, sure.
I mean,
Somebody.
you'll be busy updating the mission statement.
Hopefully it'll take me 30 seconds.
Good delegation. Well,
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
well done, Brian.
Okay, next item is Gray's Inn. It's all it says.
What?
It's all it says. I didn't know if you guys were expecting I was going to say more.
No.
About Gray's Inn.
That's
It's
usually
probably
all I
not
have.
Gray's Inn. Exactly. This is actually photocopied from last year's April.
Probably so.
It's pretty similar to Sod. Yeah, I mean, I think in the Gray's Inn, we've just discussed either keeping the trails mowed and upgrading, how much gets mowed, and then we had the discussion of the knotweed, and that's usually a dead end subject, or so it feels. The only other thing I can think of is just we probably need to do a walk on the Mystery Loop Trail just to I haven't been through it in a little bit to see if anything's fallen, but usually there's a tree or two a winter. I'll take a loop around the trail once the snow.
See if you can follow the signs that I put up last year.
I will.
See if they-
I mean, I've been through it this
Yeah.
winter, but I haven't been through it to do any maintenance.
Is that the same trail process that they have for the storyboards, or is it different?
Same process in the
For the storyboard, is that the same trail that they're putting the storyboards on?
No, that's the lower one.
Okay, so there's more to it. Okay.
Yeah, the mystery house loop is the upper trail that has the viewpoints on it.
Got it.
There's like 6 of them, right? 6 little viewpoints.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Haven't been there.
All right, so now we're on the wetlands permit.
Jack, if you want to set up a time sometime, we can walk that,
Yeah. The mystery house. Oh,
the
yeah.
Lower Green Hill
Um,
Water Precinct 1 sometime.
Yeah. Let's talk about it after the meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe I gotta think about when that's.
Do you guys have permission to cross over all the other people's lanes, or?
I believe we do. Yeah, it's never been an issue before. Yeah, I think by them filing and applying, yeah,
Yep.
giving us permission. I think Dave presented that at a meeting previously. Judge Bill.
If you have an easement, the easement includes inspection.
Okay.
We'll have to,
If you have an easement.
we'll have to remember to,
It was reported that we
Carry,
have easements from each of the properties.
badges.
Oh, not easements, but is that the right word? Easement?
Yeah.
Or a?
I think.
No, I think the word
That
was
one not signed off, that's the only one I heard. But you
right.
can-
He still has to. He's still trying to. Yeah, I thought he used the word that they're still waiting to get an easement from Shanna. Oh, I'll contact Bert.
Well, you know, buckshot's easy to take back in. Especially if you wear a nice thick pants.
Alright, so here's our other 5 copies left.
Yeah. So this is redirecting a trail over a stream off of Blue Mountain Road.
I haven't read anything about this one. I don't know if
Okay.
anyone else has.
Yeah, I was just reading about that.
I think this is the one that's the John and the Henry.
Yeah,
They have to relocate the
Mhm.
trail in order to have the, I forget what
The certification for their
the race
I
course.
Race course.
represent this is when the Kendall property was transferred to the Jackson Ski Team Foundation. The requirement was for the Jackson Ski Touring to relocate the homologous trail so that it would not be within a certain distance from the existing structures that they maintain, they retain. And that allows this year or next year, I guess, to complete. So in order to do that, they had to re-engineer the trail. It needs to be a specific length. It also has to have a specific amounts of ups and downs in order to qualify properly. They've had an engineer, the actual fellow who designed the first trail, that did get approval, to come out and design a relocated trail. This represents what that would look like. And it does have some opportunity apparently to be in or near wetlands. I wasn't sure exactly based because I've not seen the drawings specifically, but it does require that they that the Ski Touring Foundation make an application to the.
This actually isn't that.
Yeah, I don't
I was
think.
gonna, this is not, it's
This
just saying
isn't
Eagle Mountain
Eagle.
Road.
Yeah,
This is a
different one.
driveway bridge.
Yeah.
Driveway bridge on Eagle Mountain Road.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was.
And
gonna
there's
be-
Sorry.
family residence.
I thought it was going to be ski touring as well.
I know the one that you're talking about, though.
Yeah, we haven't seen that one yet. I don't
no,
think.
I thought I saw from the note that
Yeah.
Tom sent that he didn't get it. And so that's why we're seeing it here. I thought maybe that was it.
No, that's right. The other one.
Yeah, this one's a private residence. I think.
I take back everything I said.
It's been
Strike that from the
recorded.
record. We said what it is.
These are helpful.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
Dave, Mark, and Brian, if you guys want to go
That's
to
a helpful.
that site while
You can see it. It looks just like that. See? It's that blurry.
when you guys do the water precinct walk, do you want to go up there and do this one at the same time?
Sure. Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
We currently have no recorded occurrence for sensitive species near this project area.
Yes, it's the last thing I'm going.
Why did I get 3 copies of that?
So they have to.
So do you know where this site is, Brian? It's up where,
So they're gonna build-
I do, yeah, with the corner of Ridge Road and Eagle Mountain.
Yes.
Road.
Yeah.
Now I'm there.
And that's.
Took me a minute. I kept looking for the John and the
Yeah.
Henry.
mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I was just up there.
What's the name of the address? Eagle Mountain Road?
It's Eagle Mountain Road.
You have an address?
It's on the tax map as R12, block 55.
I've got that memorized. Okay, R12.
Block 55. And it's lot number 2.
It's over where the Bradleys used to live, sort of, you know?
Doesn't he still live there?
Existing.
I don't know.
He's the one house above it.
That's right.
It's like,
But that's the general location
House
anyway.
there yet?
why doesn't he come up as in the butter?
Yeah. Wow, it's gonna be long, 45 feet long.
Oh, he's one house up from it. Right from his neighbor's the abutter.
It's 45 feet long, so you just said?
Yeah.
Well, I
14
think
feet
it would
wide.
have to be pretty big to go
To not
over.
touch the
Yeah.
bank, yeah.
A lot of
Concrete
6
above
acres.
it. Wood deck with steel I-beams. Where are the ski trails there? Isn't that where this is even on? Or am I thinking of something else?
This is off, like,
It's further north on Route 16.
no,
You know, there used to be a place that used to be like an old, used to sell lots of books. Used to be like a sort of a weird bookstore zone there. Just the opposite of that is that Eagle Mountain Road.
You know where Brookie, you know where the Dodgers live?
this is that
Oh,
road.
okay, so there's.
If you
Yeah, don't they look at the top of it?
up at T
Yeah,
intersection.
basically take a right.
So this is gonna be-
Right above Ryman.
This
Not up there.
Yeah.
Sort of, because he walks the
Pops
same
through.
backwoods
Yeah.
back over there. I run into him on occasion. I don't really know him, but I see him walking around like that. That's what I hear. Cutting up, man.
Better way to look at it.
For his property.
Route 16, and then there's a right-hand turn as you're heading
No, it's
north.
just up on Eagle,
Up
that's
on
right.
Eagle Mountain
And
Road.
then.
Looking over
what do we
it.
got?
I've been up on Eagle Mountain all the time.
Margaret was saying that she comes up from your way. I've only done that once with Murph.
Yeah, you can.
You kind of get into that
Pretty
big
interesting.
hemlock
So,
forest thing
I
for a
make
little
a
bit.
motion
Cut
to
across there.
approve this,
It's
if
been a while.
Mark and Brian find it okay, without an objection, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
I'm happy to do that. I know where it is. It's just my recording. I mean,
Seems like it's a pretty big
big structure, isn't it?
deal here.
Yeah.
It looks like a pretty big stream also.
Who's the engineer for this?
Yes, it's clear.
Total wetlands impact 100 square feet. All permanent. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, earlier in the thing it said, can you see the big?
Well, permanent. Did you say permanent?
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Well, it's because he's putting in a structure and it's staying. Whereas the other one, they're digging a trench, putting a pipe in, and then burying it and putting, effectively, we shouldn't know that that even took place. Whereas right now there's a brook, and if we approve this and we went back, there's going to be a bridge and potentially a culvert. I don't know if I've seen the word culvert yet, but typically there would be. No, it's just, there's no
Because I guess
culvert,
that's
it's
where
just
the
a
abutments
bridge.
will be.
It's just a bridge. Not even.
So they must be putting a bunch of fill in there then to eliminate the wetlands.
Yeah, that's the part I don't I guess that's what we'd have to look at is,
Yeah, it's not, well, it's not clear.
Well, you can see from the plan there, I guess.
Oh, he also owns the abutting land? What?
it must be, is it the one uphill of,
Upper Saco has land there too? Well, I don't guess I'm confused as well. What's an easement right there?
I don't get how that can be 100 square feet.
Well, just the water area itself, I think, right?
Oh, right, the bridge is
Just
longer than the actual wetland area. Because 14 times 45 is definitely larger than 100.
The bridge plan looks like it's kind of flush with the sides. In other words, it's not arcing over, I guess. But we did that right.
That's right, it's very,
Well, I think they're raising grade.
the raising grade, but they're keeping it to the standard for the currently from the outside of the wetland area. So it's a flat, if you will, road.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the intent is to try to put the abutments in without affecting the natural stream bed.
that would be tough to do.
It says it will destroy part of the riparian buffer.
That's what it says in here.
Yeah, the driveway.
Well, the driveway itself is going to do
This
that.
part here, this checklist down there.
Yeah, that's weird. The blue is. I don't follow how that, in effect, only 100 square feet. I mean, you see what I'm saying? If it's, oh, okay, right, that's the bridge. So I get it. How can that only be the effective wetland area if this is a road? So that's the bridge. That's how they're doing it, because they're not touching, in theory, they're not touching this part because they're spanning it? Is that what
Yeah.
it's supposed to mean?
Yeah, so I guess it would be nice to have that explained, how it's 100 feet of
Right.
permanent.
I think what they're trying to show is that by making the bridge 45 feet long, they're able to basically not touch part of that wetland that shows up, and then the only affected part of the wetland is the
Furthest
one end,
abutment,
yeah.
right.
And how you get from one point to the other without affecting the wetland. But they can do it. No? I guess I should take all the copies. I think it's kind of out.
So yes, motion to approve it for
Yeah.
Brian and
Well, we'll go take a look. I mean,
We know.
Second.
I mean, like, I am,
Favor?
if you guys think it's questionable, I trust you.
well, I mean, presumably that's what the engineer is for. I mean, I can't look at that and
Right.
say that it's a yay or a nay. I mean,
Yeah, remember that
you know.
it sounds like we have a lot of power, but we really don't. The only thing we can really do is slow down the process.
Yeah,
So it basically just brings it to their attention that we don't support it, in which case it slows down the process and somebody would come back and look at it
Double check.
again. Yeah.
I'm probably still okay.
well,
Yeah.
that's worth doing if you guys
Yeah,
think that it's
absolutely. If we're, you know,
a shoddy plan.
it just seems confusing because in the end we signed it and it looks terrible.
Right.
Okay, so the motion made.
This goes with this.
Yes, I second the motion. I'll,
All those in favor?
I,
That's all of us. Alright, motion approved. We will walk
take
it.
a walk.
And you guys would just email us after your walkabouts?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Alright, looks like we don't. Do we have any new business amongst the board? Anything that's come up?
So we're still waiting for the application for the Jackson Ski Touring water permit.
Yeah.
Wetlands permit. And where exactly is that one now?
That's
I
gonna
mean,
be
just-
like,
just-
you know the house
just
that
two
we
sides?
did, that Dudley and I worked on,
Yeah.
Kendall?
Yeah?
So when that
That
trail
one.
got, when that property got given or sold to Jackson Ski Tour,
They didn't
the
want
upper,
any-
the upper portion of the Wave Henry John
It's
complex,
John and Henry.
that used to come up really close to the property, to the house. So now you're not going to cross the airport
Right.
and be able to go up,
Right.
or you still go up just a tiny bit across the airport.
It's
It used to
yeah.
go almost to the edge of the
Right, to the
mowed
pro- yeah.
yard, and now
Gotcha.
you stay below. And like this year, they didn't groom that part. You
Right.
couldn't go up that way, so all the races stayed just below the part that they're talking about. But for it to be a FIS, is that what it's?
It's what they call a homologous trail.
Yeah, so it has to meet specifications with vertical and pitch and all that within a certain.
Tolerance. Yeah.
Great. Sounds good.
Can I make a motion to end the meeting?
I second the motion.
2 p.m.
Yeah. Great. Way to go. Want to set another
Alright,
date?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Thank you for leaving by.
Yes.
Ah.
and thanks.
We missed Tom, but.
Yeah, thanks.
Can I just have a suggestion here? That first sentence of the mission, I promise I won't do this much, but what is the mission? There's just one sentence, and I was thinking there would be a 1, 2, 3, this is how we're going to manage it.
That whole section,
That whole-
in theory,
There's a history section, and then there's a mission section. The mission section are the what were 4 dot points, which are now 3 dot points.
that we just broke up into like bullet points, essentially.
Okay.
Like
But I
everything.
mean, you're saying that it's kind of vague, I think, to me, the reader. Will manage Prospect Farm, multi-use fine, but how? What are you going to do?
Oh, so
What's your management?
the idea behind it is behind the mission statement is the philosophy versus the actual like
Execution.
versus the actual like bulleted points like these things are allowed, these actions will take place. So this is more of like what we're looking at is the philosophy behind it, and then that'll help guide actions afterwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That we will get more specific.
Yeah.
And in many ways, we are defining how we would execute. For example, we would use similar guidelines as the surrounding national forest. And there are guidelines that are about yay.
I was just thinking, if you were expecting townspeople to read this, who's the audience for this document?
It is the townspeople. I know, I get what you're saying, but I think in our last meeting, we sort of decided we weren't at a point without the public to really create that bullet point, because when we tried to do it last time, it sort of created.
The audience to an extent is the Conservation Commission because it'll help make decisions farther on down the line when there are either uses that we aren't foreseen this time or actions that we don't know about. I mean, an example of that we talked about when the last time this was done, there weren't drones weren't a thing. Fat biking wasn't a thing. So it's an idea of, okay, how can, if you wanted to look back to say, okay, are these things allowed? Well, what's the philosophy behind it? Do these actions or activities, do these uses fall within the philosophy and the spirit of recreation up there?
Okay.
So are we trying to approve this tonight? Or are
I
we
can make the
going
changes and
to?
then send it out.
Okay.
I think we need to have it
We'll do this again.
final form.
I think we're just gonna keep doing it, so you have
Yeah,
to keep
we'll keep
re-editing this
pumping.
document for the rest of your life,
Yes.
Margaret.
Done. So we will punt. We'll punt the mission statement till we
Okay.
go over it again. Let's see what, Bird Phillips?
Yeah, I just dropped off a set of plans.
Yeah.
Saw those.
We did, we saw them.
You won't give up.
No, we
We-
saw them.
We got another
I
one
got
too.
one for you.
Yeah, we got this one too, which I don't believe is from you. We haven't even had a chance to.
Is that for the,
This is
Ski
for-
tour?
Yes, this is a ski tour one.
and which one is that?
This is for Jackson Water Precinct. So Jackson Water Precinct voted actually a year ago to run a water line from the end of Green Hill Road, across the golf course, around the back of the knob out there, and comes into the Red Fox. And basically, they have, right now the water system's like a big loop that comes out across the river, goes by Shenandoah, loops around, crosses back the river here, and stops the Shenandoah. So you get a leak, you know, say at the school, you know, at Badger Realty or something like that. You break the shut down, everybody from there down is parked. You know, there's no water in that. So this would allow them to feed. You know, so if they get a leak, they can shut off this side and then back feed it this way or whatever.
Right.
And it also helps for fire protection for increased fire flows and those things. So they have more of a go-between on this one. So Wright Pierce is the engineer who's actually doing the drawings on the plan. And there is a section of wetland, just forested wetland, that's probably halfway between the golf course and Red Fox. And it's
Is that
40
behind the electrical?
Yeah, it
Unit
is.
in there?
It's actually almost right behind Shayna's land there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
The other one. There's like a 40-foot wide section of wooded forested wetland that you got to cross it one way or the other. So the water line goes. It's actually C3 on that one, so probably 4.
This is the water line they buried.
Yeah, it's buried 7 feet down. So it's a. There you go. So the sheet before it was the Red Fox, so it kind of comes up the hill, comes across, and then this is pretty much the co-op's land, I think is somewhere like in here. And then this is Shayna Meyer's land that comes in, so these things come 500-600 feet back from the highway. So we're actually coming across Mike's, you know, we've got an easement from Mike Mallet. We have an easement from the co-op to cut across their back corner of their property. And they're getting another one from Shayna to cut the back of her property. So right here you can see is this wetland. Turns into a stream right here. But, so we basically just need to cut this through that
is like-
section of
This is the
wetland.
golf course
This is
over
like
here,
Duck's,
isn't
Duck's Head over here?
Is that? Yeah, I think that's Duck's Head.
Yeah,
I
right?
think so, yeah, 800 feet.
Yeah, I looked at once, you know, more direct route going that way, but you get to somewhere in here and it's all boulders and ledge. Yeah, you know, if you flip back the page, it would probably orient it a little bit better.
This is no relation to this, right?
That's the
just
plan.
an
that's the
overlay?
plan.
Okay, yeah.
So that's just looking at a cross section through the ground, basically. So here's Route 16. Here's the Red Fox restaurant, right? And the entrance to it, the parking lot. So they have a line that comes in and feeds the restaurant. So Jackson is going to tie onto their water line and take ownership of
Is that
this.
right into their parking lot?
Of this
Is that what that is? A parking
Yeah,
lot?
this is their
Right.
parking lot right in front of the restaurant. So they tap onto it, sneak around their septic system tanks, and then cut in. There's an existing
There's a
road
road that
that
goes
goes
all
up
the
in
way
there.
back to like Diane's house.
Right.
By the water
it's the-
precinct.
Exactly. But this road's got the force main because this is their tanks,
Yeah, up in those
and it
fields.
actually pumps way up in there. So we're staying offset from the force
Yeah.
main,
So where's
and
the-
then just cross it there.
I was gonna say, where's the wetlands on here then that you're talking about?
So this is the Red Fox, so we go out, so now we're at 600 feet. So you get out 950 feet from the Red Fox, and this is the edge of the
Does that have a culvert like under the road or something eventually?
You know, you got from here to get to the back of Seamus is like 500 feet, so you're pretty much in the middle of the woods right there. The woods for quite a long ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know that area well.
Yeah, this is the road with the force main in is actually up above it, so this is a different.
Say that again?
The road with the force main in it that goes over to can't think of the lady's name.
Yeah, Diane.
To Diane, that's up above this one. So we cut off
This
of
is
it.
hugging down
So
to
you can
this.
see it right there's where the force main goes, right? And the road turns and goes this way. This is a
So it'll be lower.
exactly. So this is a cut through the woods for a ways, and then we tie on back onto this other road that actually comes across somewhere else. Actually,
Is there a single plan that puts it all into perspective?
I don't think on this set there is. I should brought someone with me. But
Yeah, I mean, not that it's
Yeah.
questionable. It's just easier to visualize. But
Yeah, no, a little bit. Yeah, hard to keep it all. I've got some on aerial, like Google Images, just to show.
So they're looking for like an expedited.
Yeah, they're gonna file a expedited permit. I was looking over the plans. I said, "Hey, you guys file a wetlands permit?" And they're like, no." And they want to go to construction in whatever, about a month and a half, I think. So I said, we better get something in pretty quick. So when we saw this meeting, we should come in and so we could get you guys to sign the application part of it, and then we take it back. and
Okay.
fill out
Yeah,
the-
yeah, I know where
This
those
is
are.
that staging area,
yeah,
and there's a house up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
This
That
is-
old historic
This
house.
is the road.
The driveway that comes up from Route 16.
Exactly. And then there's this driveway that goes up to the
Yeah,
house
to the
over
house
here.
up there.
So this is just a bunch of waste stuff there, like
Yeah.
metal sinks and old stoves and scrap metal he builds up and then gets rid of, I think.
Yeah,
And then
that's the Porta John and the golf course.
then we drop down this hill out onto the golf course
Wow.
and just stay away from, there's a little wetland here we're
Yeah.
staying out of, and then it's across the golf course right to almost the end of Green Hill Road, almost where it meets the highway.
So right now, there's one precinct that goes across Green Hill Road underneath the main.
Well, actually, it's a dead end at the end of Green Hill Road, believe it or not. But there's a line that comes out of the treatment plant, goes across the river to, I think it goes through the lodges.
So it goes across the
So
river.
right across the Ellis, and then
Right.
right to the basically to the Shenandoah intersection, and then follows that way, crosses the Wildcat, and back around back to crosses the Ellis again. Yeah, so that's where that's Green Hill Road, and there's Route 16 or Stone Bridge there. It's right over there.
So is that where the hydrant is, right there?
Yeah, there's an existing hydrant right
Right.
there. I think that's the hydrant.
Yeah,
No,
right.
actually, there's the hydrant, so it's just beyond, a little bit up from the hydrant.
Yeah. Right. The Stone Bridge is right.
So do you restore the wetlands after you dig up a new cut?
Yeah, there's a planting, basically they excavate them out, put in the soil, and there's a certain mixture seed mixture that they put in that when they're done.
Does
And
it
they're-
flow year round?
I'm not sure.
It's a wet spot here.
It's pretty wet.
Yeah, I mean, that whole Duck's Head flow is just.
The area that's wide is a pretty disturbed area because there's an old road that goes through that area.
Yeah.
And obviously skidders or whatever have been through it bunches of times, so it's kind of dammed it up a little bit and widened it out.
Yeah, it's definitely been. That area's been messed with several times.
Yep.
So we need to take a walk and walk that zone? I think expedite the permit, didn't we walk a couple of areas?
Yeah. Is it? So what's going to slow you guys down? How quickly do you need to have this signed there? And then you looking to get it signed?
Yeah.
We have time to get together as a group of 3, walk the area, and then.
Yeah, if you could, that would be fine. We were hoping not to wait till your next meeting to sign.
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, definitely not. I'd say within a week we should be able to.
Do you have the application?
Yeah, I included And it was rolled up, I think, with the plans, there was. So this is the application, and Mike Mount has signed it already. And then there's a section.
I mean, would we sign that and then take a look, or, I mean, is that, are we looking for it to be signed tonight?
If you want to sign tonight, that's great, but if you want to look first and sign it, and I can come back and pick it up another day, that's fine
Let's
too.
let's walk it.
What is the process? Does the commission have to approve it as a commission before it can proceed, or?
We can't stop it, we can just slow things down by not signing.
There's a subcommittee that we've established that will go out and take a look at it and then sign off on it.
Okay, so the subcommittee then, that's the procedure then, is that the subcommittee would actually approve the thing, not the commission itself?
Right.
Okay,
And that was you
doesn't
and
sound legal.
me and, was there a third person?
It used to be Dave.
All right.
Yeah.
Not Mike.
No longer with us.
It's not you.
No, it's not me.
So it must be Tom.
It's there but me.
It's not Tom.
Can't be.
Yeah, sounds like it's time now.
Well, that's how we've always done it. It was
Yeah.
Dave, myself, and I thought it was Tom, but then you came on the board. so
Right,
it's
and
been
then
you.
we walked one zone
Oh,
over there.
it was like the Larry, maybe?
Yeah.
I think that the idea behind it is that the subcommittee would take a look, and if there was if the subcommittee had concern, then they would bring it to the full commission to discuss. But the problem was that we couldn't all, like, I think when I first joined, like, we'd all try and go out and look at it, and then it wasn't expedited
No chance of
anymore.
that
Then it was a delayed
We
wetlands
decided-
permit.
So we tried to do is have 3 people. I was usually working in town. Dave was retired, living in town, and then we just needed one. And it was usually Larry because he lived in town and worked in town. So the 3 of us could get together quickly, do a walkthrough, and if we had any concerns, we'd bring it to the board. Or the wetlands permit came through the board already. We discussed it, and then the 3 of us would go out and look at it. And if we had concerns, we'd come back to the board.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need 3 people, or can you and I just do it? Trust us, Bill?
I guess from a procedure perspective, I think what you're suggesting is not legal.
Oh, well,
A board is intended for a vote, and you can't vote on something that hasn't been reviewed. And even if your process is to have a couple of people look at it, then a couple of people look at it and bring it back and identify their concerns. I think that if we can look at this and say that on its face we think it's satisfactory, subject to review, then I'd be good with that. And we could sign off on it and say that we as a group have looked at the paperwork and it's okay, it's subject to a field review.
Why don't we want to sign anything?
No, I'm not telling you to sign it. I'm saying that we would agree as a board to approve it, subject to a field
Field visit.
review, which means we're basically authorizing you to sign off on it as soon as you've done the review, unless you have a concern with it.
I think that's essentially
That's
what's
what-
been implied,
Yeah, that's-
always. That's always been my assumption.
vote.
Oh, well, we can vote on it now, that's fine with me.
But the problem is if something comes up that needs expedited attention and it's in the middle of the month, it's not gonna get expedited if we don't have.
Well, if they have a concern,
Right,
then it
Then
shouldn't be
they would
expedited.
Well, then they would come back to the
Right.
full board, I
Right.
believe.
And if they don't have a concern, it's good. We sign off, we're good, and it's done.
So when do you sign off, if you sign off?
I would say as soon as these guys block it and say that it's good.
So you guys have to like go around among yourselves to sign it, or you have
No, we're as a board, we'll look at this, then we'll vote to approve that we're going to go out into the field and look at it because we've looked this over at our meeting. Everything looks okay. We'll go out as our subcommittee,
Yep.
inspect it, and then sign it. If we have any concerns, we'll have to send them out to each other and we'll
Yep.
decide what to do.
Right.
So you're just kind of effectively voting to delegate it to the
Yeah.
subcommittee.
We're saying it's okay. I think we're saying we're doing what they have been doing.
Right.
But we have to agree I think we have to agree as a board that we agree to do that for this, based on what we've seen today.
Gotcha.
I can deal with that.
Okay.
So then I'll make a motion to approve a subcommittee review.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Going for a walk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bert.
Thanks for
So
coming.
if you sign it or whatever, let me know.
Yep.
I'll come pick it up. That's the original, it's got Mike Mount's original signature, so that will be a good one to hang on to.
Okay. Yep.
Not that he's around, so I can go back and get it. I don't know if I need to do that.
Yep.
Don't lose it, Brian.
Unless I'm giving it to you. Yeah.
Tom Seidel called me with some questions.
Was it regarding the parking
Parking?
stuff up on?
It was about wetlands permits and the parking, I think is what his message was.
The wetlands permit is probably about the Jackson ski touring.
What's that?
On Eagle Mountain.
Trail relocation.
I think his, actually, if I remember right, his promise was like a general process of the wetlands permit sound like in general, a general process.
Yeah,
And then he did say about there was parking up by Jackson Falls, I think, wanted to be designated as town parking. So.
And
I
also if
just
we,
a voice message, so I didn't know back and forth.
and I think too, it's if we were to eliminate the spots on Carter Notch Road completely, then we would need to hire an engineer to do the plan, or they want like an officially drawn map, right? DOT wanted an official,
Yeah.
I think that's what his email
To
said.
eliminate the parking, yeah.
The parallel parking.
Yeah, we should have.
There's only about,
Well, this head-in parking, yeah?
well, it's just above that,
Okay.
Yeah.
where they parallel park on the bank.
Oh,
Just
like
before
all
we're-
of
It's like
Carter
5 or
Notch
6
Road.
slots trying to eliminate
It's the
altogether.
semi-legal parallel parking that goes on Carter Notch,
I think.
where people park like this.
I think what Tom was getting back to you about was we contacted the DOT engineer, and he basically created a checklist, I think. And part of it was, or at least we broke it into that we think we have to get an engineer involved to meet the checklist criteria. And so I think your name came up as well.
Okay.
We
Is
could
that
ask
Jim
for.
McCann, or-
We don't have that. I don't know if we have that paperwork with us without Tom being here. So
Yeah.
we're probably gonna have to push it off again.
Just one heads up there is they're going to be rebuilding
The bridge.
the bridge,
Mhm.
and the plan that GPI, like they did some conceptual plans, really more for marketing, really impressive actually. But they talked about, would you guys want to make like a connector between the bridge, like a footpath connector between that and the Jackson Falls area, which kind of when you saw it on this paper made a whole lot of sense, because so many people go up there for views and photographs and whatnot. So I'm not sure if that would at all weigh into what you're doing there or not.
Connector, I'm not following you there.
So
Like from
they
the
don't know that
bridge.
there's already passed there.
No. So you mean the?
I'm not. I don't recall seeing too many paths. I don't recall seeing a path from the bridge itself all the way out to
Like
16
Oh yeah, Carter Notch Road.
to Carter Rock Road.
Gotcha.
Is there a path? there?
No,
Well,
there's
no.
not.
This is side, the edge of the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can cut through the hemlocks. I mean, that we still have that as a path, I believe.
But it's up high. Right, the abutment's up high a little bit, so right at the bridge you can't drop down too quick.
No, you
Right.
But then I was thinking from there out pretty much to Carter Notch Road, there wasn't any path. So they were sort of showing
Gotcha.
actual building
Like
a
a
path,
sidewalk type.
a sidewalk, and maybe it
Well,
would, where
that
they
certainly would
could
eliminate
raise
the
road
parking,
away from
maybe.
the road and then come over,
Yeah, that doesn't
just to make a
make sense.
good pedestrian path between the two without
Huh.
going off the road.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like an idea that they threw out as a marketing thing to help get them they make them.
When do you think we would see that? I mean, is that something that?
Well, they're going to start working on conceptual plans in the next. We've just been waiting for DOT to sign the contract, but hopefully in the next couple months, month or two, or month or three, I would say. And then there'll be some public hearings. The public will be invited to look over their different options they come up with.
Okay. Right. So I guess that's sort of important.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, from the selectmen's perspective, the state, they give 80% funding for the reconstruction of that bridge. this would not be considered part of that bridge construction. So whatever happens there would be something the town would have to decide, okay, do we want to fund the additional money for it? So, but
Oh, wow.
So we're just talking a little walkway from the bridge to Carter Notch Road.
right, or to tie it into that
Like
area.
parallel to Valley Cross Road, essentially.
Yeah, like a sidewalk or just, yeah, I mean, that could, you know,
Pam loves it.
Might as well cut in more of the park and pave it over, get it all paved over soon.
I think what I saw from them actually was a gravel path, but not paved, but
That's
a
cool.
stone dust path or something like that. So they showed.
Problem with gravel paths is they end up causing more erosion.
the good news is we don't really have to discuss that topic tonight.
No kidding.
I've
Thanks,
got
Brad.
feedback already.
He says, but I got what I came for. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bert.
Way to go.
Nice to see you.
All right. So where are we on the agenda then?
Jackson
So that
Falls. Is that the Jackson Ski Touring one? Right there?
Yeah, yeah.
What is the rest of that stack?
There's 5 copies of everything.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I lost my pencil in the process. All right, so we basically took care of one of the wetlands permits. Management plan's okay. All right, so Jackson Falls, the new walkway path. Spring plans. So we were supposed to pick a date. Is that?
Well, let's see, Tom,
I
I
don't
think,
know when the seedlings
right, Tom
are
did
coming.
order the
Yeah.
seedlings.
Anybody want to do some, we see staking down on the edge? I've got lots of dogwood, I could get some stakes, and then you just, in other words, you cut these things up and you go down and you need like a rebar or something, and you pound it in and you just stick the little seed in. It's kind of cool, but now would be the time to start thinking about doing it. And I know with some of those really eroded parts, like right on the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the bank.
Yeah, we have to do that.
I'm always into planting.
Do it like, within the next week or so, I think.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, it's, the water's, as long as the ground gets, soft enough so you could stick something through it, because the plants have to be dormant when you cut them.
And you just cut a little switch and stick it in?
I mean, it's basically, you cut the switch, but you cut it off, you cut the branches off too. So you're just sticking the bottom in.
Right, it's
like
in a
stake.
root.
Yeah, it's a stake, a live stake, and you just stick it in there. But didn't think anybody would be interested in doing it.
I would help. You have,
Yeah.
you have cuttings?
I can get cuttings in. I got a lot of dogwood in my place, so.
You want to just send out email
Yeah. I can do
and just
that.
say when you're
Yeah.
it's a good time for you to cut them, cut
Yeah.
the stakes.
Yeah. Or I can just come down with the stakes and people can come in, just stick them in.
Okay.
Be worth a shot. Okay.
Do you remember when the plants came in last year? I mean, it was in the first week of May, maybe. Was it
I
in May?
probably have it in
I
minutes.
thought it was
Just
earlier
curious.
than.
I thought it was
I
like.
guess it would have to be earlier.
Yeah, I thought it was more.
Coming right up, so it'll probably be next week.
Probably have, but
I would be willing to go down and get them and store them if we need to. So that means the work day would be within a week or so of getting the plants. So that's coming up in the next couple of weeks then.
I mean, do we want to try to schedule it before we know, or just like when we get the seedlings, send out an
Yeah.
email?
It seems tough to schedule if we don't really know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
well, it's seedlings.
I'll
and
see if
then-
I can find when they came last year.
Yeah, I think I can. I might be able to find
I
it.
wonder if you can go online and find out if they know yet.
If they had like an estimated time, that would be helpful.
Yeah, well, April 3rd last year we were setting the schedule for the plants. So we didn't have a date yet. So
You picked
parking.
them up. Did you pick them up last year?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
The other item is parking, which we kind of just had a conversation about. Maybe we won't be going down that path quite yet. I mean, Burr came into the meeting, which was part of our plan was to get a hold of Burr. to come to the meeting to talk about the parking, so.
I would be willing to hire him to draw a map of the area to submit to get no parking on Carter Nash Road. I don't know how much it would cost. I don't know where that would fit into our budget, but I feel like if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do.
Well, it's the minimum that we have to do. I mean, can't do anything without it, right?
Yeah.
They won't allow us to do anything without it, so
Right.
Yeah.
it wouldn't be bad to have a,
I think it's a good idea.
Of course, the interesting thing is that, from what I think I got from Tom's email, is that apparently you're not supposed to be backing out onto the road.
Yeah.
So the
Right.
parallel parking spaces are the only ones that don't back out onto the road. But they cause the most trouble, though, when you think about it. Just because the door's opening and
Yeah.
traffic going by and...
Although, wouldn't you consider that still backing out into a single lane road, even from a parallel spot, conceivably? I mean, I guess it depends what direction you exit your parallel parking spot, technically. But
So even the head-in parking, backing out onto the road is not legal?
it's not legal.
You have to back in.
That would be funny if we said, if we had back-in signs. and
back in
stuff.
only.
That would solve a lot. Awesome.
We're taking care of a lot of things, yeah. I can't do that. Huh.
We could build a loop road, like in Acadia.
There you go. The
So
5
then
mile
what
loop
would that
road.
mean? I mean,
Back to the
conceivably,
softball.
would that mean that we have to redo the entire parking lot?
We're probably grandfathered to what we've got. It's a matter of, you know.
I think
If you
the point
eliminate
was
spaces,
is
I think
that what
that's
we
fine.
have is not good either.
Yeah.
Well, that's for sure.
Okay, this one here. So this is May 1st meeting. Where is it? I just saw it.
Thanks for
Motion.
picking up the weeds. I mean,
Motion to approve proposal 1. Seedlings plan work session this week, Wednesday. So it's the first week of May.
it's supposed to be good.
Yeah, we planted them.
We intentionally tried to get the high season of the black flies.
Yeah, so, I mean, roughly we can plan
Okay.
the first week of May, so we'll have a meeting by that point. Alright, so are we all set with Jackson Falls stuff? Are we comfortable with that, or do you want to talk
So
about
we
hiring
can look
Bird?
into hiring Bird, see
Yeah.
how much it would cost, and then maybe we can
And
vote
may-
on it in May.
As well as maybe we should look into see what you might have on file already. I mean, you might have a
Yeah.
document.
We could already use.
Yeah, I mean, in which case we'd still probably be hiring him to.
To update it.
But I imagine, or he might know of a file that exists that he simply has to just update.
Okay.
How about we agree that Margaret follow up to see if there's,
Sure.
what the process would be to employ him to update
Sure.
or
I'm happy to
create.
do that too if you want. I
Okay.
talked to him a fair amount.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you don't, if it's easier.
Yeah, if you've got a relationship with
Yeah,
them, sure.
I mean,
Somebody.
you'll be busy updating the mission statement.
Hopefully it'll take me 30 seconds this time.
Good delegation. I like-
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Well done, Brian.
Okay, next item is Gray's Inn. It's all it says.
What?
It's all it says. I didn't know if you guys were expecting I was going to say more.
No.
Gray's Inn.
That's
It's
usually
probably
what
not.
happens.
Exactly. This is actually photocopied from last year's April.
Probably so.
It's pretty similar. I just saw it. Yeah, I mean, I think in the Gray's Inn, we've just discussed either keeping the trails mowed and upgrading, how much gets mowed, and then we had the discussion of the knotweed, and that's usually a dead end subject, or so it feels. The only other thing I can think of is just we probably need to do a walk on the Mystery Loop Trail just to I haven't been through it in a little bit to see if anything's fallen, but usually there's a tree or two a winter. I'll take a loop around the trail once the snow.
See if you can follow the signs that I put up last year.
I will.
See if they
I mean, I've been through it this winter, but I haven't been through it to do any maintenance.
Is that the same trail process that they have for the storyboards, or is it different?
Same process in that.
For the storyboard, is that the same trail that they're putting the storyboards on?
Oh, no.
No, that's the lower one.
Okay, so there's more to it. Okay.
Yeah, the mystery house loop is the upper trail that has the viewpoints on it.
Got it.
There's like 6 of them, right? 6 viewpoints.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Haven't been there.
All right, so now we're on the wetlands permit.
Jack, if you want to set up a time sometime, we can walk that,
Yeah. The mystery house. Oh,
the
yeah.
Lower Green Hill
Uh-huh.
Water Precinct one sometime.
Yeah. Let's talk about it after the meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe I gotta think about when that's.
Do you guys have permission to cross over all the other people's lanes, or?
I believe we do. Yeah, it's never been an issue before. Yeah, I think by them filing and applying, they're giving us permission. I think Dave presented that at a meeting previously. Judge Bill?
If you have an easement, the easement includes inspection.
Okay.
We'll have to,
If you have an easement.
we'll have to remember to,
It was reported that we
carry,
have easements from each of the properties.
badges.
Oh, not easements, but is that the right word? Easement?
Yeah.
Or a,
I think.
no, I think the word
That
was,
Mike Matt signed off, that's the only one I heard. But you
right,
he
he still has to, he's still trying to, yeah, I thought he used the word that they're still waiting to get an easement from Shana. Oh, I'll contact Burr.
Well, buckshot's easy to take back in. Especially if you wear a nice thick pants.
Alright, so here's our other 5 copies left.
Yeah. So this is redirecting a trail over a stream off of Eagle Road.
I haven't read anything about this one. I don't know if anyone else has.
Yeah, I was just reading about that.
I think this is the one that's the John and the Henry.
Yeah,
They have to relocate the trail in order to have the, I forget what the
The certification for their
race course.
Race
I can
course.
represent what this is. When the Kendall property was transferred to the Jackson Ski Touring Foundation, the requirement was for the Jackson Ski Touring to relocate the homologous trail so that it would not be within a certain distance from the existing structures that they retain. And that allows this year or next year, I guess, to complete. So in order to do that, they had to re-engineer the trail. It needs to be a specific length. It also has to have a specific amounts of ups and downs in order to qualify properly. They've had the engineer, the actual fellow who designed the first trail, that did get approval, to come out and design a relocated trail. I believe this represents what that would look like. And it does have some opportunity apparently to be in or near wetlands. I wasn't sure exactly because I've not seen the drawings specifically, but it does require that that the Ski Touring Foundation make an application to the.
This actually isn't that.
Yeah,
I was gonna, this is not, it's
This
saying
isn't
Eagle
Ski
Mountain
Touring.
Road.
Yeah,
This is a
different one.
driveway bridge.
Yeah.
A driveway bridge on Eagle Mountain Road.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was
And
going
there's
to
Sorry.
be.
family residence.
I thought it was going to be ski touring as well.
I know the one that you're talking about, though.
Yeah, We haven't seen that one yet, I don't
No,
think.
I thought I saw from the note that
Yeah.
Tom sent that he didn't get it. And so that's why we're seeing it here. I thought maybe that was it.
No, that's right, the other one.
Yeah, this one's a private residence, I think.
I take back everything I said. It's like that one, Mark. You said what it is.
These are helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave,
Right.
Mark and Brian, do you guys want to
That's
go
a
to that
helpful.
site while
You can see it looks just like that, too. It's that blurry.
when you guys do the water precinct walk, do you want to go up there and do this one at the same time?
Sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
We currently have no recorded occurrence of sensitive species near this project area. Why did I get 3 copies of that?
So do you know where this site is, Brian? It's up where,
I do, yeah, really corner of Ridge Road and Eagle Mountain
Yes.
Road.
Yeah.
Now I'm there.
And that's
Took me a minute. I kept looking for the John and the Henry.
mhm.
Oh, yeah. I was just up there.
What's the name of the address? Eagle Mountain Road?
It's Eagle Mountain Road.
It's on the tax map as R12, block 55.
I've got that memorized. Okay, R12.
Block 55. And it's lot number 2.
It's over where the Bradleys used to live, sort of, you know?
Doesn't he still live there?
I don't know.
He's the one house above it.
That's right.
It's like,
But that's the general location
House
anyway.
there yet?
why doesn't he come up as in the butter?
Yeah. Wow, it's gonna be long, 45 feet long.
Oh, he's one house up front, right from his neighbor's the abutter.
It's 45 feet long, so you just said?
Yeah.
Well, it would
14
take,
feet
it would
wide.
have to be pretty big to go
To not
over.
touch the
Yeah.
bank, yeah.
A lot of
Concrete
6
abutment,
acres.
wood deck with steel I-beams. Where are the ski trails there? Isn't that where this is, Eagle Mountain? Or am I thinking something else?
This is off, like,
It's further north on Route 16. You know, there used to be a place that used to be like an old, used to sell lots of books. Used to be like a sort of a weird bookstore zone there. Just the opposite of that is that Eagle Mountain Road.
You know where Brookie, you know where the Dodgers live?
this is that
Oh,
road.
okay, so there's some
You
Yeah,
have
don't
to
they
figure
look at the
out
top of
how
it?
to up the T
Yeah,
intersection.
basically take a right,
So this is gonna be-
right above Ryman.
This
not
way,
right.
yeah.
Sort of, because he walks the
Pops
same
through.
backwoods.
Yeah.
Back over there, I run into him occasionally. I don't really know him, but same water like that. That's when I get cutting up my
Better way to look at it.
Spruce property.
Route 16, and then there's a right-hand turn as you're heading
So it's
north.
just up on Eagle,
Up on
right?
Eagle Mountain Road.
And then,
Looking over, it's-
I've been up on Eagle Mountain a long time.
Margaret was saying that she comes up from your way. I've only done that once with Murph.
Yeah, you can.
You kind of get into that
pretty
big
interesting.
hemlock
So
forest.
I
and
make a
all that.
motion
Cut
to
across there.
approve this.
It's
If
been a while.
Mark and Brian find it okay, without an objection, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
I'm happy to do that. I know where it is. It's just not recording. I mean,
Seems like it's a pretty big
big structure, isn't it?
deal here.
Yeah.
It looks like a pretty big stream also.
Mhm.
Who's the engineer for this? Is
Yeah, that's clear.
Total wetlands impact 100 square feet. all permanent. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, earlier in the thing it said, can you see the big?
Well, permanent. Did you say permanent?
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Well, it's because he's putting in a structure and it's staying, whereas the other one, they're digging a trench, putting a pipe in, and then burying it and putting, effectively, we shouldn't know that even took place, whereas right now there's a brook, and if we approve this and we went back, there's gonna be a bridge and potentially a culvert. I don't know if I've seen the word culvert yet, but typically there would be. No, it's just, there's no
Because I guess
culvert,
that's
it's
where
just
the
a
abutments
bridge.
will be.
It's just a grade. Not even,
So they must be putting a bunch of fill in there then to eliminate the wetlands.
Yeah, that's the part I guess that's what we'd have to look at is,
yeah, it's not clear.
Well, you can see from the plan here, I guess.
Oh, he also owns the abutting land for him?
it must be, was it the one uphill of,
Upper Saco has land there too? Well, I don't guess I'm confused as well. What's an easement right there?
I don't get how that can be 100 square feet.
Well, just the water area itself, I think, right?
Oh, right, the bridge is
Just
longer than the actual wetland area. Because 14 times 45 is definitely larger than 100.
The bridge plan looks like it's kind of flush with the sides. In other words, it's not arcing over it, I guess. But we did that right.
That's right, it's very,
Well, I think they're raising grade.
the raising grade, but they're keeping it to the standard for the currently from the outside of the wetland area. So it's a flat, if you will, road.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the intent is to try to put the abutments in without affecting the natural stream bed.
that would be tough to do.
It says it will destroy part of the riparian buffer.
That's what it says in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the driveway would.
Well, driveway itself is going to be,
This
yeah.
part here, this checklist down there.
Yeah, that's weird. The blue is. I don't follow how that can affect only 100 square feet. I mean, you see what I'm saying? If this Oh, okay, right, that's the bridge. And that one, so I get it. How can that only be the effective wetland area if this is a road? So that's the bridge. That's how they're doing it, because they're not touching, in theory, they're not touching this part because they're spanning it? Is that what that's
Yeah.
supposed to mean?
Yeah, so I guess it would be nice to have that explained, how it's 100 feet of
Right.
permanent.
I think what they're trying to show is that by making the bridge 45 feet long, they're able to basically not touch part of that wetland that shows up, and then the only affected part of the wetland is the
Furthest
one end,
abutment,
yeah.
right.
And how you get from one point to the other without affecting the wetland, but they can do it. No? take all the copies. I think it's kind of rough.
So, yes, motion to approve it for
Yeah.
Brian and.
Well, we'll go take a look. I mean,
We know.
Second.
I mean, like, I am,
Favor?
if you guys think it's questionable, I trust you.
well, I mean, presumably that's what the engineer is for. I mean, I can't look at that and
Right.
say that it's a yay or a nay. I mean,
Yeah, remember that
You know,
it sounds like we have a lot of power, but we really don't. The only thing we can really do is slow down the process.
Yeah,
So it basically just brings it to their attention that we don't support it, in which case it slows down the process and somebody would come back and look at it
Double check.
again. Yeah.
I'm probably still.
well,
Yeah.
that's worth doing if you guys
Yeah,
think that it's
absolutely. If we're, you know,
shoddy plan.
it just seems confusing because in the end we signed it and it looks terrible.
right.
Okay, so the motion made.
This goes with
Yes, I second the motion. I'll,
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's all of us. All right, motion approved. We will walk it.
take a walk.
And you guys would just email us after your walkabouts?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
All right, looks like we don't. Do we have any new business amongst the board? Anything that's come up?
So we're still waiting for the application for the Jackson Ski Touring water permit.
Yeah.
Wetlands permit.
And where exactly is that one now?
That's
I
gonna
mean,
be
just-
like,
just-
you know the house
just
that
two
we
signs?
did, that Dudley and I worked on,
Yeah.
Kendall.
Yeah?
So when that trail when that property got given or sold to Jackson Ski Tour,
They didn't
the
want
upper,
any-
the upper portion of the Wave Henry John
It's
complex.
John and Henry,
That used to come up really close to the property, to the house. So now you're not going to cross the airport
Right.
and be able to go up.
yeah. Right.
Or you still go up just a tiny bit across the airport.
It's
It used to go almost to the edge of the
Right, to the
mowed
rock, yeah.
yard, and now you stay below. And like this year, they didn't groom that part. You couldn't go up that way. So all the races stayed just below the part that they're talking about. But for it to be a FIS, is that what it's?
It's what they call a homologous trail.
Yeah, so it has to meet specifications with vertical and pitch and all that within a certain.
Tolerance and
Great. Sounds good.
Can I make a motion to end the meeting?
I second the motion.
6 p.m.
Yeah. Great. Way to go. Want to set another date?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Thank you for moving down.
Yes,
Oh.
thanks.
We missed Tom, but.
Yeah, thanks.